Hey guys, it's Pedro back with another interview covering VCT Americas Stage 2. For this occasion, I'm going to be taking it a little bit of a different approach. For this occasion, I'm going to be talking to a few members of the broadcast talent that have been covering this event in its entirety from the start of kickoff up until now. One of those people that have been doing that is Liz. She has been one of the interviewers I've been talking to whichever person has been a part of the league, be it a player, a coach, member of an audience, a fan, whoever it is. She's probably done it all. So, Liz, thank you so much for taking the time doing this real quick. First and foremost, I mean, at the time of the recording, we're finishing up the first day of playoffs. How are you taking in this whole experience after today?
I mean, yeah, I think today was everything Valorant has to offer. Almost comebacks, co-streamers, who have kind of been have such a strong place in the Valorant zeitgeist. Fans just being who they are and being so passionate, and Abyss, the new map is there. I think it had it all today. It was. I remember this is probably the only day I've really felt like, whew, like that was a day of Valorant. But I think today, if this is the beginning of playoffs, man, we have the bar set so high for us of playoffs, and I really do think we're going to surpass it. So, I mean, that's up to me. That's up to the players, I guess. But it was just such a good day. It reminds me of why I love it.
I mean, for sure. I mean, definitely been a day filled with action, suspense, all that jazz, and then some. But I want to talk more so just about you because, I mean, from my point of view, you've been one of the people that have been standing out within the broadcast talent. Sure, we got Brand, Sideshow, the usual crowd, but relatively speaking, you've been a newcomer, just having to take in this entire situation for the first time. And talking about that, the first time you've been able, well, I believe this must be the first time you've been a part of a broadcast in it at all. So, how has that kind of experience been like for you in general?
I did two littler events before this, like in 2023 in the latter part of the year, which was a good first leg up and first kind of good training wheel, but nothing of this stature, nothing of this kind of go live caliber. It's been great. It's been something that I've really loved to learn on the job. Everyone a part of the team has been really, really awesome and has given me feedback and has kind of really helped me acclimate to the environment because, like you said, I really haven't done anything like this before. And it's such a safe environment to grow and to learn. And I feel comfortable in saying like, hey, was that okay? How could I have done that better? And learning from them just by observing, watching them, whether it be hosting, casting, learning how they produce narratives or talk to players, even what they know about the game. It's just been this insane alley to absorb all of this information, and it's been such a great experience. And I think it's made me a better, like, I want to call myself an analyst, but a better mind for the game, miles ahead of where I was when I started in February.
For sure. I mean, I'll obviously ask you about how this whole thing came together because, I mean, personally speaking, I've been following your line of work in theScore and doing all that stuff, making content, covering various different games, different titles, different storylines in that facet. More so just like a host for shows. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, but still, to go from that to VCT Americas is quite a massive jump. So exactly how did that entire thing come together in the first place?
Yeah, so I think it's still somewhere on my Twitter. I don't think it's my pinned tweet anymore, but I put it out there. That I was like, hey, I really want to do this. I want to help like myself grow, and I would love to become broadcast talent. I have a background in theater, and I love being on stage. I love presenting. Hosting for theScore is filmed. It's not live, and that's lovely, and I love that, and it's really helped me grow in that aspect, and I've grown a lot there. But I was like, I want to try this. I want to do this. I think this would be so much fun. And I really didn't think tweeting anything would come of it, but I got a lot of advice, and I got a lot of, okay, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this, and kind of like taking that advice, having those conversations, and one thing led to another, and here I am. I meant it when I said in my tweet that I really never want a young woman to, even if she doesn't think it will come true, to shy away from vocalizing her dreams, because I think women tend to think, well, that's not going to happen, so I'm not even going to think about it. And I would just love for this to be proof of, well, vocalize it. It may not happen. I understand that, but just say that you want to do it, put it out there, and be proud of that fact and own it.
For sure. Going back a little bit into just learning from just other your colleagues. I can not fair to say it's your colleagues now. What do you think was the biggest lesson you learned so far, and who exactly did you learn it from?
Well, there are a couple things. I remember on my first day, Doug DM'd me, was like, hey, hold the mic with your upstage hand, because I had a habit of crossing like this. Mimi gave me like just a note like the other day. It was like, you don't always have to call back to, the broadcast and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing I've learned from observing just how they interact with the narrative itself is kind of the streamline of what we're going to talk about, because you don't know where anyone's experience level is in the audience. They may be like the super Sentinels fan, and they may know every single bit. They know their permaband. They also just may be brand new, coming to the game for the first time, and working to just kind of give every detail that you need, and like making sure that you are kind of aligned with everyone is something I've definitely learned on the job. What's another thing I've learned from people? Christy gave me a note one time, and I took it and I used it, and I don't remember it, but it was something about my interview specifically. But just like watching, I think is also another thing, like Smix watching, she's like the absolute goat. She, the first day of kickoff, I shadowed her. And I was really, really, really nervous. And I was just asking her so many questions. I was like, what question? Why would you ask this? Like, what do you do with your cards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she told me, she's like, everyone has their own format. You will come up with yours. Here's what I do. And that's what I've done now. I have my own little format on the cards. Talking to players that maybe are a little shyer or don't have quite as much to say. She gave me tips on that. And I remember she like grabbed my hands in the green room, and she was like, if you ever want to talk about anything, like anything, DM me. And just like having that ally, having that backup, knowing that like I could go to her. I remember I actually DM'd Frankie Ward. I was like so nervous. And I was like, what if like, I don't know like when to go, like when's something cute? And she's like, just keep talking, like stuff like that. Just like little things here and there, because I was so nervous. But I think a lot of it, rather than like being told, has come from absorption rather than just like, hey, Liz, XYZ. Another thing I tend to do also, this is a random thing in terms of physicality, I tend to turn in to the camera. So like right now, like instead of cheating out, I would be like, that doesn't look great on camera. And so being told, just remember to cheat out, just little things like that here and there. You might not notice it on broadcast, you might not think about it, but for me, it's something that I, always have him trying to remember to do.
Yeah, very well regarded people that you've mentioned right there, Smix, Frankie Ward, people that have been doing your line of work for quite a long time. Would it be fair to say that like, are they like your role models in esports? And if so, like who do you have in mind as a role model?
Oh God, how many women can I name? It's Smix, it's Frankie, it's Zoe, it's Yinsu, it's Kakuka, it's Ash, who I'm very lucky to call friend. It's Dryad, it's all of these women who have come before me and have made it possible for me to be here. It is. I don't consider that myself in the same regard, obviously, but for me, just to like be able to be like, feel comfortable replying to a tweet and being like, wow, like, and give them a hug, like, oh, so nice to see you. Like, that means so much, because this sounds silly, but never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be here and be able to talk to them like that and learn from them like that. And I would always just see them on screen, but now I can be like, oh, Sue, hey, what's up? Like that's a wild concept to me. But just having just my inspirations, my idols, like give me tips and talk to me and be kind to me is crazy.
No, for sure. I want to ask you also just you told me a little bit about your background, on the way over here from the studio or from the Riot Games Arena over here. I won't disclose exactly where we're at right now, but what exactly did you do, growing up, and how did that then kind of lead you into just this current path of esports slash talking to people slash interviewing slash all that stuff?
Yeah, so I have a big background in the arts. I started dancing when I was 2. I was a ballerina, and then I broke my back when I was 13, so I couldn't and still can't dance anymore. But I was, I don't know what to call it, maybe just attention starved. I was like, I need to be on the stage, and so I started doing theater, and I did that up until college, and then COVID hit. I was getting my degree in political science, and graduated in COVID with that, and I played video games, played VALORANT during my tour guide shifts. Sorry. But I remember it was 2021. I was just like, political science, typically your path after that is either teaching or law school. And I was like, I don't want to do either. I really don't want to do either. And I was like, I know I probably should go to law school, but I don't really want to do that. And so I was in a coffee shop because my power went out, and I was like, you know what? I watch theScore Esports. I'm just going to apply to all the teams that I see them talk about. I'll be their manager, because I stage manage in theater, and I just applied to all these places, never got a response. Then randomly I was like, oh, I wonder if theScore has a position. And they had a writer position open, and I was like, oh, let's see. And I got it. Part of that was during college, I started a TikTok and just made skits, lifestyle videos, did not dance, again, broke my back. And just had fun with it, especially when we were all isolated. And I managed to gain 1.2 million followers. And I quit in January 2021 because I was just like, I can't do it anymore. I mentally couldn't handle it. I just needed to focus on school. And but that taught me a lot about production and content. I was my own producer. I was my own writer. I was my own everything. I was my own agent, manager, all of that. And that TikTok thing was kind of the help me realize that my career in TikTok helped me realize that I didn't want to go to law school. I didn't want to do something as academic, and I love it, but I didn't want to do it as a career. I wanted to do something with me involved. I wanted to be present, and I wanted to be writing, and I wanted to be creative. I also happen to like video games, and so when that position with theScore opened, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. What if they take me?
No, for real. I mean, everyone has their own way of just developing content and just then building their own path. Exactly how do you kind of describe your form of content slash your line of work slash your line of identity, in how you kind of go about your business within the aforementioned subjects?
In esports and theScore, I consider myself a hybrid journalist content creator. There are aspects of my job that are journalism, and there are aspects of my job that are just good old content creation, which I love. It's what I did in TikTok. In TikTok, just content creator. Here, just broadcast, and in LA, and for VALORANT Esports, I just consider myself broadcast talent. I think those are the labels that fit. I think theScore is the most hybrid of them all in terms of what I do. There's a lot that we do, and there's a lot that we make, and they all require different things. So sometimes you're reaching out to sources for interviews, sometimes you're doing that, and sometimes you're teaching the audience how to do a smoke, on something like that. It depends. But that's the fun part about it. That's really awesome, and I get to talk about video games for my job, which is crazy.
What's the best work that you feel you have ever produced up until now?
God, oh man, that's a great question. I don't know. That's a really, really good question. One of my Don't At Me's probably. I think I was really proud of my work when the Guard won the Ascension tournament. I was really proud of that video. I was proud of the Sentinels winning Madrid video. But here I'm proud of, I really am proud of my Game Changers hosting. I like getting to kind of hype up the people who play Game Changers and kind of help bring those narratives and bring those players to the forefront of the scene, which is the purpose of Game Changers. But, excuse me, in terms of the interviews, I think they're all great. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, they're all great, but like, I'm proud of my work, and I'm usually not. I'm usually like, oh my god, it's so bad, guys. Like, no, don't worry. Like almost like pick me style. But it's one of the first times in my life where I've really just been like, good work, Liz, and that's growth, and we love that. But in terms of like, I can't really think of like my magnum opus. But if I had to pick one from VCT, oh man, I think I have to give it to Grandma Zekin interview. The post-match interview with Zekin. Mama Zekin and Grandma Zekin. That's a really interesting dynamic to work, even just physically. And so it was just a really awesome time and challenge to work that out. And I really liked the way I handled that interview. So,
to go from just mostly doing content creation, working from your home, doing stuff on the laptop/desktop, to now, being a part of an actual broadcast, in-person stuff. I mean, have you been able to just get used to the transition? Have you been able to just work with the transition in a seamless way? Or do you still have struggles in just having to make the switch to and from theScore and VCT?
I don't struggle with work. I love work. I love working. Not to borrow like a phrase from Kim Kardashian, but like, I love work. But it honestly, I think the biggest struggle for me is learning to take time for myself. It's something I really struggle with, and I've been really working on it. Oh my God. But I've been really working on taking time for myself. But the thing is, giving myself a break and giving myself a bit of just time for me. I was dealing with a undiagnosed chronic illness for months before. And even then I wasn't stopping, no matter how ill I felt. I was just like, you know what, we gotta work. It's like on me. I gotta eat better. I gotta, sleep. And, this has given me, being in a VALORANT broadcast talent has given me more work for sure. And that's like my lifeline. I don't know what I would be if I didn't have work. That sounds terrible now that I said that out loud. But it's just been, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, this is a terrible example, but it's like pouring more water into an empty glass for me. Like, it's like, okay, like, cool, I need it, I love it.
So like, from how you say it, like, the drive is always there, because like you say, it's empty. So even like, no matter how much water you put into that empty bottle, it's still going to be empty in your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I think I've always loved taking responsibility on, and I love doing it. It's always, I'm so driven in so many different directions. There's so many different whys for me. But yeah, no, it's, there will never be enough for me. I've never felt overwhelmed. I've never felt, burnout, yet. But yeah, I love it. It makes me I love having that purpose. Do I need more hobbies? Maybe, but and I'm working on that again. But it's what I live for. It's VALORANT and esports is what I live for, and giving me more of that is like, oh.
No, for sure. I mean, it's a testament to just how you've been able to just remain focused on your line of work and just continuing to do well. I believe, looking at your social media and even now in this conversation, you've been one to be very open about your struggles. Yeah. And just being able to just open up and just share to the people that might be listening to this and say, I'm doing this despite all of this. I'm still working hard. And sure, there might be some struggles that I might experience either in the past, in the present, and maybe later on down the line. I'm still at it. About that openness, what enabled you to just be so open about what you're struggling with and the kind of issues that you had to deal with, and despite that, still moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the chronic illness thing, for me, it's just very important to be open about that. It's something I don't really feel comfortable naming right now, because also I just didn't think it's like anyone's business. But I was like, you know what? Not everyone has their own. Everyone has something, right? Whether it's an injury, whether it's like, and so I wanted people who follow me to see like, this is happening, but this is still possible. I think especially young women think you already like have such like, you think like, oh no, I can't do like I was talking about earlier, but when there's a quote unquote difficulty and obstacle, that becomes even harder. But I really wanted my young women to see me and be like, no, it is possible. You know, it is possible that someone who is struggling physically can do it. A strong woman who has overcome like the worst mental health of her life can move forward and can grow and continue. Someone who has received constant harassment will continue to grow and will continue to fight. I do believe in platform responsibility, and I think the platform that I've been given is a privilege, and I don't take it lightly. I don't take me being one of the few plus size women in the space lightly. And so being open and being so vocal is so important to me, because if for some reason, you know, tomorrow I can't, you know, do this anymore, you know, I decided I'm going to go to the moon, right? I want my mark to be for people who are my size, and women who just see this would be like, can say yes and. That, you know, I'm trained in improv, right? One of the rules of improv is yes and, rather than, oh no, I can't do it. Say yes, I can, and what? That's what I want my openness to show, is that no matter what is thrown at you, genuinely, no matter what is thrown at you, it is possible. Yeah.
So like a trailblazer.
I would have to give credit to the women that came before me. It would not be possible without, you know, the women like Smix, people like Sapphire, you know, people who have come before me and just have really blown open the space and made room for me. To be a part of that is my mission. I don't know if I am. I think that would, you know, later down the line we could talk about that. But I maybe not a trailblazer, but I don't call myself like an ally, but just a sign maybe that this is possible. Anyone can do it.
No, for sure. You're definitely on the path to doing that. Well, I'm going to try to wrap it up here, or with a few more questions to ask. In the future, I mean, what do you kind of look at as your official goal? You know, your ultimate goal, a goal that you see, like, once you do that, you'll be like, nothing can get higher than this. You know, do you have that? And if so, what is it?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know if I do. I take it day by day. That sounds weird, but my goal is just to live every day to the fullest, and that sounds so stupid, but every day, in my opinion, is a gift, and the privilege of living a day is something I don't take lightly, to use that phrase again. And in terms of like career aspirations and stuff like that, I don't think about that unless it, you know, a strike of inspiration happens, a la like that tweet in the broadcast. Like, I was inspired watching Champions. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be there. I see Mel and Yunsu walking out. Like, I want to be where they are. But I don't, and maybe it's my own detriment, I don't think that far ahead. I'm very focused on the here and now, and the life I live now. I think that comes from, you know, my past with mental health struggles and, you know, really struggling to get through the day. Now I want to live every day and truly live every day.
I forgot to mention the Champions 2023 thing, but yeah, the good thing you brought that up, because, like, I mean, like, I think that was the first true introduction of just yourself to the Valorant audience and stuff. I mean, I remember being in the forum, on the press room, just watching the replays of yourself, like saying, like, I'm kind of gonna act it out behind the camera, but like, you like say what, and like taking off your sunglasses for a little bit. I remember that shot was very memorable. Just sort of walk me through just your experience in Champions 2023, and do you kind of feel like the same way, like that's your introduction to the Valorant audience?
To a large part of it, yeah. I think a lot of people knew me from theScore because I was like my main beat and is my main beat on theScore. But I think it was a larger introduction to my personality because those were very genuine and very under not like understated is the wrong word, but it was me. Like I think people thought like I was intoxicated or just like playing it up, but I'm an Italian theater kid from New Jersey, and like if you thought I was going to have my hands in my lap, I don't know what to tell you. I genuinely react like that when I'm watching games. I think I've calmed down a little bit since being on broadcast because I can't just be throwing like my hair and my head everywhere. But I definitely I think it showed them people side of me that like my friends see and my family see. Like and the blood sugar rises and I get excited, I guess.
No, for sure, for sure. One more question before I wrap it up. If you got anything to say to like any of the audience, maybe girls that want to pursue a line of work that you're on right now, what would that one thing be and why?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. For me, the most important thing for you to know is that it is possible. There is room for you, and I will do everything in my power to make room for you. No matter who you are. Gaming is for all. Esports is for all. It always has been, it always will be, no matter what anyone says. And something, like I was saying earlier, no matter what your experience level is or what your interest in the game is, what your interest in the esport is, there is room for you. And you can take up that space. Don't be afraid to say, yeah, I want to be a fan of this team. Oh, yeah, I want to be a fan of this player. I want to go into this stream. There is nothing wrong with enjoying it and in being inspired by it. I think, again, young women especially kind of think, oh, it isn't possible for XYZ. And we can talk for hours about why, why women think that. But for me, it's just very important that, we use that yes and. We say yes and we go for it. They can say no. It might not happen. I can't guarantee that. No one can guarantee that. You can't guarantee that. No one can. But the last thing I want for someone to think is because of their gender that they can't go for it and it's not possible, because that's not true. And there is space for you. So, yeah.
Liz, thank you so much for taking the time. Really do appreciate taking the time and just answering all my questions for this interview. And yeah, thanks so much.